Hi, I'm Julie. You know that saying, when you marry someone, you marry their whole family? Well, let me tell you about the day my mother in law, Karen, decided to remind me who really ran my household. Life was good, me, my husband Mike, and our two kids, Jack and Emma, living in our cozy 3-bedroom home. It wasn't huge, but it was ours. The kids shared the bigger upstairs bedroom, which they proudly decorated themselves. Emma's side adorned with unicorn wallpaper, Jack's with a space theme. For a 10 and 8-year-old, they were getting along surprisingly well. Then came that Sunday dinner. Karen showed up with her daughter Amy trailing behind like a shadow. The first red flag? Karen insisted on cooking instead of ordering our usual pizza. "Oh, sweetie, we need to discuss something as a family," Karen said in that saccharine tone that always made my teeth ache. I should have known. "Amy's having a rough time," she continued, patting Amy's hand like she was a delicate flower. "Third job this year," I muttered under my breath. "She needs a fresh start," Karen went on. "So I told her she could stay here for a while." I nearly choked on my meatloaf. "Here, Karen, we don't have a spare room." "Oh, that's no problem." Karen waved dismissively. "The kids can move to the basement. Amy needs a proper bedroom." The fork slipped from my hand. "Excuse me?" Mike started to say something, but Karen steamrolled him. "Michael, your sister needs help. Family helps family." Before I could fully grasp what was happening, Karen was already marching upstairs. We heard drawers opening and closet doors slamming. By the time I got there, she was tossing Jack's clothes into garbage bags. "Stop, you can't just move my children's things." I snapped. "Julie, don't be difficult," she replied without even looking at me. "The basement is fine. We'll set up dividers for privacy." Mike hovered uselessly in the doorway. "Mom, maybe we should discuss this." "There's nothing to discuss," Karen cut him off. "Amy needs support unless you're suggesting we throw her out on the street." And just like that, my husband deflated like a balloon with a slow leak. That night, Emma cried as her unicorn wallpaper was covered with Amy's vision board full of Pinterest quotes. Jack stood frozen, clutching his favorite space poster. As I lay in bed, listening to my kids trying to adjust to their cramped basement setup, I made a decision. Karen might think she'd won this battle, but she had no idea the war she'd just started. "Mike," I whispered, "you know this isn't right." "It's just temporary," he mumbled, rolling over. "Temporary," I repeated, bitterness coating the word. Like the last 3 times Amy needed temporary help. But this time was different. This time she'd messed with my kids. And nobody messes with my kids. 3 weeks. That's all it took for Amy to completely take over our house. It started with the bedroom, then the upstairs bathroom, then the kitchen. She treated the place like her personal bed and breakfast, with Karen as the overly involved manager. "Julie, Amy needs her protein smoothie before yoga," Karen chirped one morning. I glanced over at Amy lounging on my couch, scrolling her phone, while my kids tiptoed around their own home like unwelcome guests. Jack stopped inviting friends over, not that I blamed him. It's hard to host Nintendo tournaments in a basement that smelled like old gym socks. Emma's grades were slipping too. "I can't sleep," she whispered one morning, dark circles under her eyes. "The furnace growls all night, and the basement's too cold." She hesitated before adding, "Jack keeps crying. But he doesn't want Daddy to know." That's when I started the Karen Chronicles, a detailed log of every incident, complete with evidence. Videos of Amy screaming at the kids for making noise during her meditation. Screenshots of Karen's texts demanding organic groceries for Amy's healing journey. Photos of my children's belongings shoved into corners to make room for Amy's essential oil diffuser collection. The breaking point came when I found Emma's favorite stuffed unicorn in the trash. It was cluttering up the hallway. Amy shrugged, not even looking up from her vision board. "Isn't she too old for toys anyway?" I marched straight to Karen, who was reorganizing my pantry without permission. "This ends now. The kids moved back upstairs today." "Don't be ridiculous," Karen snapped. "Amy needs stability right now." "Stability? What about my children's stability while your 40-year-old daughter plays spiritual guru in their bedroom?" "I'm 32, Amy shrieked from the living room. "Julie," Karen's voice went icy. "I don't like your attitude. Michael and I have already discussed this." "Discussed what?" Mike appeared in the doorway, and for once, his timing was perfect. Mom's been making decisions about our house again, I said, holding up Emma's rescued unicorn. Did you know Amy threw this away? It's just a toy, Karen began, but Mike cut her off. That was Emma's birthday gift from Grandpa Tom before he passed, he said, his voice suddenly firm. Something shifted in Mike's face. Mom, we need to talk about boundaries. Boundaries? Karen gasped, as though she never heard the word before. I'm trying to help your sister. I didn't raise you to be so selfish. No, Mike said quietly. You raised me to let you control everything. But this is my family too. My kids matter. Karen's face cycled through several shades of purple before she finally snapped. Well, I never. Amy, pack your things. We're leaving. But my yoga routine, Amy whined. Now. They stormed out, Karen swearing we'd regret our attitude. But watching the kids' faces light up when we told them they could move back upstairs, I knew the only thing I regretted was not standing up to her sooner. I'm sorry, Mike said that night, scrolling through my documented evidence. I didn't realize how bad it had gotten. It's not over. I warned him. You know your mother, she's just regrouping. He nodded, looking like the partner I'd needed all along. Then we'll be ready. The calm lasted exactly 2 days. This time, Karen came armed with blueprints and a contractor. Since you're so concerned about space, she announced, waltzing into our kitchen during breakfast, I found the perfect solution. We'll add an in-law suite over the garage. Amy can have her own entrance. Mike choked on his coffee. Mom, we can't afford. Oh, don't worry about money. Karen spread the plans across the table, over our breakfast dishes. I talked to Bob at the bank. You have plenty of equity to refinance. My stomach dropped. I'd seen Karen cornering Mike outside his office the other day. Now I knew why. Actually, I cut in. We've been talking to our financial advisor about the kids' college funds. No extra loans. Karen's eyes narrowed. Education is important, but family comes first. Amy needs to grow up. The new voice made us all jump. Tom, Mike's dad, stood in the doorway, looking grimly amused. Karen, you're doing it again. I'd never seen Karen speechless before. It was beautiful. Tom, you can't just walk in, she sputtered. Like you do? He raised an eyebrow. Sit down, Karen. We need to talk about Amy's temporary stays with Jessica, David, Marie, and Steve, and why none of them speak to us anymore. 3 families, Karen, Tom continued, his voice weary. You've driven away 3 families with this routine. I'm protecting my daughter. You're crippling her, Tom shot back, and I won't let you destroy another family. After they left, Karen practically dragging Amy away from her plans for a meditation garden. I called my best friend, Sarah. Record everything, Sarah advised, her lawyer instincts kicking in. Tom's testimony, the refinance scheme, everything. If Karen tries anything legal, we'll be ready. That evening, Tom returned alone, bringing photos, text messages, and financial records exposing Karen's schemes. I should have stopped this years ago, he sighed. But Karen's very good at making you doubt yourself. Not anymore, I said, adding his evidence to my collection. We're ending this cycle. Together, we spent hours building an airtight case. Karen had been hiding Amy's trust fund, keeping her dependent, and had even submitted loan paperwork in Mike's name, thankfully flagged by the bank. When do we confront her? Mike asked, both scared and determined. Family dinner, Tom suggested. She won't expect it there. She always uses public settings to control reactions. Perfect, I said, thinking of the group text Karen had sent that morning, demanding we host Sunday dinner to discuss the renovation. Let's give her exactly what she wants, an audience. Sarah helped us prepare our presentation, and Tom rallied the extended family members Karen had burned before. Even our kids contributed, bravely agreeing to share how their basement exile had affected them. Sunday was coming. Karen thought she'd be pressuring us into her plans. Instead, she was walking into her own reckoning. Sometimes the best revenge isn't just exposing the truth. It's letting someone build the stage for their own downfall. Sunday dinner started exactly as Karen had planned, except for the unexpected guests. She froze in the doorway, her eyes widening at the sight of Uncle David, Aunt Jessica, Cousin Marie, and her husband Steve, all seated in our living room. What are they doing here? She hissed at Mike. Family meeting, right? I said sweetly. You always say family comes first. Tom stood beside the TV, where we'd set up our presentation. Karen's face went pale when she saw the renovation blueprints, not just hers, but 3 identical sets from other homes. Before we discuss your plans, I began, let's review some family history. The next 30 minutes were brutal. David described how Karen's temporary arrangement had cost them their savings. Jessica showed pictures of their gutted house, abandoned mid-renovation when they finally broke free. Marie's voice trembled as she detailed the refinancing scheme that nearly cost her family their home. This ends now, Mike said, standing tall and facing his mother. No more renovations. No more manipulating Amy's life. No more controlling our family. How dare you, Karen shrieked. Everything I've done was for family. Amy needs to hear the truth, Tom interjected, pulling out a folder of documents. Tell her about the money, Karen, the account you've been managing since she was 18. Amy's head snapped up. What money? The room went silent as Tom explained. The inheritance from her grandmother. A trust fund that could have funded Amy's independence years ago. The account Karen had kept safe while pushing Amy from relative to relative. Mom? Amy's voice was barely a whisper. Is this true? I wanted to protect you. Karen sobbed, her voice shaking. To keep you close. To keep me dependent, Amy corrected, her expression hardening as she saw the pattern for the first time. I'm 32 years old, Mom. Living in my niece and nephew's bedroom because you convinced me I couldn't survive on my own. Karen left our house for the last time that night, alone. Amy moved in with Tom, who helped her access her trust fund and find a therapist. Last I heard, she was taking coding classes and healing from years of engineered helplessness. The kids spent an entire weekend redecorating their room. Emma's unicorn collection grew with new additions from every family member who came to celebrate. Jack's space posters multiplied until they covered nearly every inch of the walls. The sound of their laughter upstairs was better than any revenge. Mike still struggles sometimes. Years of conditioning don't disappear overnight. But he's in therapy too, learning to recognize manipulation and stand firm against it. As for Karen, she's lost her power, her audience, and her ability to hurt anyone else. The family she wronged stay connected through a group chat, sharing updates and supporting one another. Sometimes the best revenge isn't something you do to someone. It's finally permanently stopping what they've been doing to everyone else. This story has ended, but it raises an important question. At what point should adult children be cut off from family support? Karen enabled Amy's dependence for over a decade. But where's the line between helping someone through hard times and creating harmful patterns of helplessness? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this tale of family drama and justice served, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more stories exploring complex family dynamics. And remember, sometimes the hardest part of helping someone is knowing when to stop.